So there's a video topic that I haven't covered, and I've wanted to cover it since Washington knocked out Pittsburgh. Matt Murray. So, going into the playoffs, I talked a lot about goaltenders, and I said I didn't think Matt Murray had a great season, and I didn't know that Pittsburgh could go on another run because I didn't know if Matt Murray would hold out. I got a lot of flack. Okay? Murray gets shutouts in his first 2 games of the playoffs. Okay? And then they run Philly out of town in 6. And I was taking a lot of heat from some, and I'm not saying all. From some that I wasn't talking enough about Matt Murray's save percentage, goals against, and how awesome he was, and how amazing he was, and how he was leading Pittsburgh to a three-peat. Because everybody three-leaved in Pittsburgh. And I thought, okay. And at some point, I just kind of stopped talking about it. Second round, Washington kind of picked him apart. Now, if you look at it, his first year, he has a .930 save percentage in 13 games in the regular season. In the postseason, he wins 15. And the other win, Jeff Zatkoff. And that's a little trivia answer for you guys out there. Marc-Andre Fleury hurt at the start of the playoffs. And when he did get the chance to go in and play, didn't play particularly well. Matt Murray ends up right back in the net. And they win a Stanley Cup with him as their goaltender. 2016-17, 32 wins, 10 losses, 4 overtime losses, a .927 save percentage. Pretty solid. But I didn't think, even with that, all right, well, he's a Vezina winner, or he's the greatest goalie in the league, or I didn't think any of that. And I get it. Pittsburgh Penguins fans were excited. In the playoffs, he only played 11 games because of Marc-Andre Fleury. Really, I mean, it was just injury and Marc-Andre Fleury being awesome. 7-3 record, .937 save percentage, which was ahead of Marc-Andre Fleury's that year. And there was talk about, could Marc-Andre Fleury and Matt Murray share a Conn Smythe trophy? They've both brought Pittsburgh here. This weird narrative took over this year, so he plays 49 games again. He would have played more if not for injury. 27-16-3 record, .907 save percentage, and I don't have a problem admitting that when he came back from injury, he didn't necessarily look the same, and, it took him a while to get things going, and Pittsburgh's defense, not fantastic. .908 save percentage in this season's playoffs after a .937 and a .923. But here's where fans sometimes drive me a little bit crazy. I don't think Matt Murray is necessarily as world beater as some people think, but he's definitely not the reason the Penguins aren't playing hockey right now. They had 28 saves on 30 shots in Game 6, and Pittsburgh didn't score. They had 1 goal. So Braden Holtby's the reason this kid's home. And Braden Holtby last year was being criticized for his poor save percentage in the playoffs and his poor play, and people were questioning whether or not he could lead the Washington Capitals out of round 2. Now he has, and now we're picking on this kid. He was an 83rd overall pick in 2012, and nobody thought much of him. And I hate to go back to this, but again, EA Sports seemed to know something with Matt Murray, because in EA Sports games, Matt Murray became a pretty damn good goaltender. And it was funny because, I picked him up in one of my franchise modes and was like, holy crap, this kid turns out awesome. So I started following him, just like this Schwannard kid that never made it. Is it Schwannard? Yeah, there was a kid that I used to get every single time I played NHL 12 as a draft pick. I'm trying to remember now. I'll remember it after the video's over, but I get him every time because he would just develop into this great guy, and then in reality, he never did. He last I saw, he was playing in Canadian college, and I think he's out of hockey altogether now. So, Chartrand. No, not Chartrand either. Anyways, it'll come back to me after. And it's not pertinent right now, other than the fact that EA Sports introduced me to this kid. He's now 23 years old, and people are talking about it like this playoff series. And I saw it after. Murray sucks. You know what? It's Matt Murray's fault. Really? It's Matt Murray's fault they only scored 1 goal? I've watched this movie for years as a Canucks fan. I've watched it for years as a Bruins fan, too. I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, Bruins fans dumping all over Tuukka Rask, and I didn't feel it was right then. Now I would almost agree that he didn't steal a game, but 2 years ago I'm like, really? Rask? It's not his fault. This kid's 23 years old. He turns 24 before the start of the season next year, but he's 23 years old. He's 6'4". And I've seen people saying, well, he's not very big. He's 6'4". Holy crap. Are we to the point now where a goalie has to be 8'3" before you go, well, he can cover the entire net without bending over? Holy crap, he's 6'4". He's won 2 Stanley Cups. And people want to pick him apart. And this is where I try not to be that guy. Where when I talk about a player, I try to be as fair as possible. Do I like Pittsburgh? No. Am I glad they're out? Yes. Do I revel in Matt Murray's misery? No. It's not his fault. If that kid's sitting at home right now, watching game film and saying, geez, I didn't have it this year, he really needs to stop. It wasn't his fault. He's 23 years old. I think if anything, the bar got set so high, and with those 2 shutouts to start the playoffs this year, the bar was so high with Murray that he himself could no longer get over top of it. All those shutouts in the playoffs raised that expectation. He's already got 28 wins in his career. He's already got, 6 playoff shutouts or something like that? He's got a bunch of playoff shutouts to go with those 28 wins in his career. 28 playoff wins is pretty darn good for a guy who's 23 years old. He could legitimately have 15 years left in his career. If he lasts as long as guys like Luongo and Lundqvist and these guys, he could play for another 15 years. Thatcher Demko is 22. 22. Now wait, I got 2 numbers up here. I think I'm wrong on one thing here. But am I gonna redo? Nah, I'm not gonna restart. Yeah, 20. No. This is wrong. He turns 24 on me. He turns 20. Oh no, I got that. I was reading the 25 and 24 wrong. I'm like, wait a minute, what? He turns 24 on May 25th. Thatcher Demko is 22, and I don't hear Canucks fans saying, hey, he's a bum. He's 1 year younger. 1 year and a bit. Ilya Samsonov just got signed by Washington. Everybody's all excited about him. He's 21. 2 years and a bit younger than Matt Murray. Gibson is 24. Same age. And I don't hear Anaheim fans saying, oh, Gibson's reached his peak. We're done with him. We understand that it takes time for goaltenders. He hasn't played a 50-plus game season yet. He had injury issues this year. And I don't think he was necessarily himself in that second round. Why don't we give Washington any credit? This is the part that drives me nuts. Like, yes, I have stated Pekka Rinne has not been Pekka Rinne in these playoffs, but in Game 6, he was deadly against Winnipeg. And I go ahead and give him the credit on that one. There are times where you look and you say, you know what, this goalie isn't playing his best. And you stop there. And then you say, but his team didn't really help him out when he needed to be bailed out. Corey Crawford's a good example. Corey Crawford, during his runs with Chicago, put up a lot of really good games. But every now and then he'd put up a stinker. And sometimes when he put up a stinker, Chicago would score 5 or 6 goals to cover it up. That's the Grant Fuhr strategy. Vasilevsky's 23. Same age, and I don't think any of us think he's peaked. Hellebuck's 25 on May 19th. So he's about to turn 25. And last year at this time, everybody was complaining about Hellebuck, and Steve Mason was brought in to replace him. If you're a Penguins fan, and I applaud you guys for congratulating Washington on the win for the most part, and I say for the most part because there are some that are kind of growly about it, but there are some Pittsburgh fans that I think are very reasonable about this. But for anybody who revels in this and says, oh, Matt Murray's crap, watch it. He's very young. He's going to come back. He's going to be very good. He's a solid starting goaltender in the NHL. I don't know if he's ever going to win a Vezina. I don't know if he's ever going to win a Jennings. I don't know that he's ever going to win a Hart Trophy. I don't know how good he can be. But I know that when the games matter in the playoffs, 2 times in his 3 seasons, and those 2 seasons he was a rookie, he came out and he was lights out. And the second time around he was better than the first. So if you bet against him, and if you have the attitude of, Matt Murray's, he's not going to be a starter, Pittsburgh should look for somebody else, you're crazy. And I know Pittsburgh, most of their fans won't feel this way, and Pittsburgh management definitely won't feel this way. This kid is their future. Him and Tristan Jarry, that is a tandem they can go with. If Casey DeSmith can prove himself to be a capable backup, they can take Jarry, trade him out, and bring something special back, because there's a lot of teams that need goaltending. And Jarry, in his limited appearances with Pittsburgh this year, showed a lot of promise. I know, he wasn't fantastic. You know why? They're young. There's so much expectation thrown now on kids, and I think part of it is because we see all these teenagers coming in, like a Heishier or Nolan Patrick, and they play right away, and eventually by the end of the rookie year, they're who they're going to be. Or close to it. Their point production will come up, but they're pretty solid. Goaltenders take a little longer. Defensemen usually take a little longer. That's why when I talked about when players peak, I didn't talk about goalies or defensemen, I just stuck with forwards. Goalies are a whole other beast. He's already been his best, and I don't think we've seen his best. So while I'm not betting on him winning a Vezina anytime soon, I'm not betting against it either. So for Penguins fans, could they win a cup next year? Sure. I mean, the Hockey News had an article on that. They're like, oh, they could win a Stanley Cup next year. It's like, really? Can we just save this article until, I don't know, August, and just find out what happens at the draft, and what happens with free agency, and what they do, and how these teams look in October? The one thing I know, the one reason I will give Pittsburgh that chance, is they have a fantastic offense, and Matt Murray in that net. You want to complain about their defense? They didn't have Letang last year in that blue line. Maybe that was a benefit. And, there are certain fans that were pretty salty about Letang. But you know what? Chris Letang's a pretty good defenseman, too. So, I may not like Pittsburgh, but I am fair to Pittsburgh, and I am scared of Pittsburgh. And that doesn't change just because Pittsburgh's out. I don't celebrate Washington beating them because, yay, I hate the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's like, holy crap, I can't believe this just happened. Is this real? Matt Murray could very well snuff that out next year and add another 16 wins here and end up with 44. This kid is special in the postseason. So you may not even care about his regular season numbers, because in the postseason next year, the odds of him posting a 908 again, I think they're pretty slim. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.